The Galactic Decree. Dr. Sarah Chen squinted at the holographic display, her dark eyes reflecting the swirling patterns of alien DNA. The xenobiology lab hummed with activity as her team worked tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of extraterrestrial life. Little did they know, their lives were about to be turned upside down by a galactic bombshell. Dr. Chen, her assistant Alex, burst into the lab, face flushed with excitement or panic. Sarah couldn't quite tell which. "You need to see this. Now." Sarah's brow furrowed as she followed Alex to the common area. A crowd had already gathered around the large viewing screen, all eyes fixed on the stern face of Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council. "My fellow Earthlings," the ambassador began, his voice grave, "I come to you today with news that will undoubtedly change the course of human history. The Galactic Council has passed a new law, effective immediately, that requires all adult humans to enter into marriage contracts with 2 alien spouses." A collective gasp rippled through the room. Sarah felt her knees go weak, barely registering as Alex steadied her with a supportive hand. "This decision," the ambassador continued, "has been made in the interest of galactic harmony and genetic diversity. Earth has been granted full membership in the Galactic Federation, but with this condition." Murmurs of disbelief and outrage filled the lab. Sarah's mind raced, trying to process the implications. As a xenobiologist, she understood the importance of genetic diversity, but this was unprecedented. "I know this news comes as a shock," the ambassador said, his composure cracking slightly. "But I assure you, we are working tirelessly to ensure the smoothest possible transition. Matchmaking centers will be established worldwide to facilitate these unions. Remember, this is not just about individual happiness, but the future of our species and our place in the galactic community." As the announcement concluded, chaos erupted in the lab. Colleagues argued, some broke down in tears, others laughed hysterically at the absurdity of it all. Sarah stood silent, her scientific mind already analyzing the situation. "This can't be legal," Alex muttered beside her. "It's a violation of basic human rights." Sarah shook her head, her long black hair swaying with emotion. "In cosmic terms, Alex, we're the newcomers. We don't make the rules." "So, what? We just roll over and accept this?" Alex's voice rose in frustration. "No," Sarah said, a determined glint in her eye. "We adapt, we study, and we find a way to turn this to our advantage." Over the next few days, Earth descended into a frenzy of activity. Matchmaking centers sprouted like mushrooms after rain, each promising the perfect alien matches. The media was awash with stories of eager humans embracing the change and horror stories of reluctant bachelors going into hiding. Sarah threw herself into research, poring over every scrap of data on alien biology and culture she could get her hands on. If humans were going to survive this, they needed to understand their new partners. A week after the announcement, Sarah found herself standing outside the largest matchmaking center in New Beijing, her heart pounding. She hadn't planned on coming here so soon, but a colleague had insisted it was better to be proactive. "Dr. Chen," a lilting voice called out. Sarah turned to see a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin and eyes like swirling galaxies. "I am Zarax, your assigned facilitator. Are you ready to meet your potential spouses?" Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "As ready as I'll ever be." Zarax led her through a dizzying array of rooms, each filled with aliens of all shapes, sizes, and consistencies. Some were humanoid, others defied description. Sarah's scientific curiosity warred with her personal apprehension. "Remember," Zarax said softly, "this is not just about physical compatibility. We're looking for mental and emotional resonance as well." As they entered a quieter area, Sarah's attention was caught by 2 vastly different beings. One was a towering mass of crystalline structures that chimed melodiously as it moved. The other was a small, fuzzy creature with multiple arms and eyes that seemed to change color with its mood. "Ah, Zorax said, a hint of excitement in her voice. "These two have shown particular interest in your profile, Dr. Chen. Allow me to introduce Ialtor of the crystalline harmonies and gloop from the myriad worlds of fluff." Sarah blinked, momentarily at a loss for words. This was it, the moment that would shape not just her future, but potentially the future of human-alien relations. Ialtor's crystals resonated in a complex pattern. "Greetings, Sarah of Earth. Your work in xenobiology has intrigued us greatly. We believe there is much we could learn from each other." Gloop burbled happily, its fur changing to a warm golden hue. Yes. Sarah smart, Sarah kind. Gloop and Sarah make good team, solve big problems." Despite her initial trepidation, Sarah found herself smiling. These beings were so different from anything she had imagined, yet there was an undeniable intelligence and warmth in their interactions. "Well," she said, her scientific curiosity overtaking her nerves, "I suppose we have a lot to talk about. Shall we start with your native ecosystems and how they shaped your evolution?" As Sarah engaged in a fascinating discussion with Ialtor and Gloop, she realized that this bizarre situation might just be the greatest research opportunity of her career. And who knew? Maybe, just maybe, these unconventional unions could lead to breakthroughs that would benefit all species. Little did Sarah know, as she took her first steps into this new galactic society, that she was about to become a key player in a cosmic drama that would test the very limits of human adaptability, ingenuity, and courage. The adventure had only just begun. First contact fiasco. Sarah Chen's head was spinning as she left the matchmaking center, her datapad clutched tightly to her chest. It contained detailed files on Ialtor and Gloop, her potential alien spouses, along with a schedule for their next meeting. The sheer absurdity of the situation hit her anew as she stepped into the bustling streets of New Beijing. "Dr. Chen," a voice called out. Sarah turned to see her colleague, Dr. Raj Patel, jogging towards her. "How did it go in there? Any luck finding your cosmic soulmates?" His attempt at humor fell flat, the strain evident in his voice. Sarah sighed, running a hand through her hair. "It was educational. I'm not sure luck is the right word, Raj. This isn't exactly a rom-com scenario." As they walked, Sarah filled Raj in on her encounters with Ialtor and Gloop. His eyes widened with each detail. A sentient crystal and a fur ball. "Sarah, you can't be serious about going through with this." "Do we have a choice?" Sarah retorted, her frustration bubbling to the surface. "Besides, think of the research potential. We could learn so much about alien biology, culture, even interspecies communication." Raj shook his head, unconvinced. "Just be careful. We don't know what we're dealing with here." Sarah's reply was cut short by a commotion ahead. A crowd had gathered around a hovering alien craft, its sleek design unlike anything Earth had seen before. As they watched, a hatch opened, and a being of pure energy floated out, pulsing with vibrant colors. "Greetings, Earthlings." The being's voice resonated in their minds. "I am Ambassador Zix of the Luminous Collective. We've come to participate in your delightful mating ritual." The crowd murmured in a mix of awe and apprehension. Sarah felt a tug on her arm as Raj pulled her closer to the front. "Dr. Chen," he whispered urgently, "you're the expert here. Say something." Before Sarah could protest, she found herself face-to-face, or face-to-energy field, with Ambassador Zix. "Oh, welcome to Earth, Ambassador," Sarah managed, her scientific training kicking in. "I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, xenobiologist. We're honored by your interest in our planet." The ambassador's energy field pulsed brightly. "Ah, a scientist. How wonderful. Perhaps you'd like to experience the bliss of merging consciousnesses with a being of pure energy." Sarah's eyes widened in alarm. "That's very kind, but I'm afraid I'm already in talks with other potential partners." Zix's disappointment manifested as a dimming of their glow. "A pity. But fear not, we shall find suitable matches among your species." As the Luminous Collective began mingling with the awestruck crowd, Sarah pulled Raj aside. This is getting out of hand. We need to establish some guidelines, some protocols for these interactions. Raj nodded grimly. Agreed, but who's in charge here? The government? The aliens? It's chaos. Their discussion was interrupted by a piercing shriek. They turned to see a woman backing away from a gelatinous alien that had accidentally engulfed her handbag. Oh dear, the alien burbled apologetically, extruding the now slimy accessory. I was merely attempting a customary greeting. Is this not how Earthlings express affection? Sarah rushed over, her scientist's instincts taking over. It's all right, just a cultural misunderstanding. Let me explain. For the next hour, Sarah found herself playing diplomat, mediator, and cultural translator. She explained Earth customs to bewildered aliens and alien biology to panicked humans. It was exhausting, frustrating, and oddly exhilarating. As the sun began to set, casting an otherworldly glow over the alien craft, Sarah felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. She turned to find Gloop, its fur now a soothing shade of blue. Sarah, work hard, it burbled softly. Gloop, help. Despite her fatigue, Sarah smiled. That's very kind of you, Gloop. Actually, I could use your insight on something. How do your people handle cultural misunderstandings? Gloop's eyes swirled thoughtfully. Myriad worlds have many cultures. We learn, adapt, find common ground. Sometimes funny mistakes, but always learn. Sarah nodded, an idea forming. That's it. We need a cultural exchange program. Not just matchmaking, but real education and interaction. Her excitement was interrupted by a crystalline chime. Xylter approached, its facets reflecting the fading sunlight. We concur with Gloop's assessment, Xylter resonated. The crystalline harmonies have observed much confusion and fear today. Perhaps our collective knowledge could assist in smoother integration. Sarah looked between her two potential spouses, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, this bizarre situation could lead to something positive. All right, she said, her voice filled with determination. Let's put together a proposal. We'll need support from Earth's governments, the alien representatives, and... Her planning was cut short by a tremendous boom that shook the ground. The hovering craft of the luminous collective was engulfed in a dazzling light show, energy arcing in all directions. Oops, Ambassador Zix's voice echoed in everyone's minds. It seems our attempt to generate a welcoming light display has overloaded your primitive power grid. Our apologies. As chaos erupted once again, with panicked humans and confused aliens scattering in all directions, Sarah couldn't help but laugh. This was going to be a long, strange journey. Dr. Chen, Raj called out, his voice barely audible over the commotion. I think we're going to need a bigger lab. Sarah nodded, already mentally composing a request for emergency funding. Earth's first official foray into galactic society was off to a rocky start, but she was determined to make it work. After all, the fate of human-alien relations and her own impending marriages depended on it. As she coordinated with local authorities to manage the blackout, directed alien visitors to safe zones, and jotted down notes for her cultural exchange proposal, Sarah realized that her life had irrevocably changed. She was no longer just a xenobiologist studying alien life from afar. She was now at the forefront of humanity's integration into a vast, complex galactic community. And despite the chaos, the confusion, and the looming uncertainty of her own future, Sarah Chen couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement. The universe had just gotten a whole lot bigger, and humanity was about to show the galaxy what they were made of. Little did she know, the real challenges and adventures were only just beginning. Diplomatic tensions. The weeks following the first contact fiasco, as it came to be known, were a whirlwind of activity for Sarah Chen. Her proposal for a cultural exchange program had caught the attention of both Earth's governments and the Galactic Council. Now, she found herself in the unlikely position of unofficial ambassador, mediating between humans and a dizzying array of alien species. Sarah stood before a holographic display in the newly established Interspecies Relations Center, addressing a diverse group of human and alien representatives. Her lab coat was wrinkled from too many hours of work, but her eyes sparkled with determination. "As you can see," she explained, gesturing to the complex web of interconnected alien cultures displayed before them, "we're dealing with an unprecedented level of cultural complexity. The mandatory marriage law has created a powder keg of potential misunderstandings." A portly human diplomat raised his hand. "Dr. Chen, with all due respect, how are we supposed to navigate this circus? We can barely handle Earth's own cultural differences." Before Sarah could respond, Axiota chimed in, its crystalline form resonating with gentle harmonics. "If I may, the key lies in finding universal constants. All sentient beings seek understanding, growth, and connection." Gloop, perched on a specially designed hover chair, burbled in agreement. Yes, humans creative, adaptable. Myriad worlds learn much from Earth cultures too. Sarah nodded, grateful for the support of her alien fiancés. Over the past weeks, she had grown increasingly fond of both Axiota and Gloop, their unique perspectives proving invaluable in her work. "Exactly," she continued. "We need to focus on building bridges, not walls. Our differences are our strength, not our weakness." As the meeting progressed, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial. The Galactic Council's insistence on the marriage law still didn't make sense. There had to be more to it than simple genetic diversity. Her musings were interrupted by a commotion outside the conference room. The door burst open, revealing a flustered aide. "Dr. Chen, there's been an incident at the Tokyo Matchmaking Center. It's bad." Sarah's heart sank as she rushed to the communications hub. The screens displayed chaos. Humans and aliens locked in heated arguments, strange energy fields clashing, and in the center of it all, a familiar pulsing form. "Ambassador Zix," Sarah groaned. "What have you done now?" The energy being's voice crackled through the speakers. "We merely suggested a mass consciousness merging to expedite the matching process. How were we to know it would cause such distress?" Sarah pinched the bridge of her nose, fighting off a headache. "Ambassador, we've discussed this. Humans aren't ready for that level of psychic intimacy. You can't just..." Her words were cut off by a piercing alarm. Red warning lights flashed across the displays. "Unauthorized spacecraft entering Earth's atmosphere," a technician shouted. It's huge." The room fell silent as a massive ship, easily the size of a small moon, appeared on the main screen. Its design was like nothing they had seen before, a twisting, organic structure that seemed to defy the laws of physics. A booming voice filled the room, reverberating in their minds with such force that several humans clutched their heads in pain. "Citizens of Earth and gathered representatives of the Galactic Council, we are the coordinate of unified minds. Your POTIFULATTMPTs at Integration News US. Prepare yourselves for true unity." Sarah's blood ran cold. She turned to Axiota and Gloop, seeing her own fear reflected in their alien features. What is the Concordat?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Thiota's crystalline form dimmed noticeably. "They are, not spoken of in polite company, a collective of ancient species who believe in forced telepathic unification of all sentient minds." Gloop's fur had turned a sickly gray. Bad beings. Want to make everyone same. No individuality, no freedom. The implications hit Sarah like a ton of bricks. "The marriage law," she gasped. It wasn't about genetic diversity at all. It was to prepare us for this. As panic began to spread through the room, Sarah's mind raced. Earth was woefully unprepared for a threat of this magnitude. Their alien allies, while advanced, seemed just as shocked by this turn of events. "We need to evacuate," the portly diplomat stammered. "Call in every ship we have, get as many people off-world as possible. No, Sarah said, her voice cutting through the chaos. All eyes turned to her. We stand our ground. Earth is humanity's home, and we won't give it up without a fight. But how? Someone asked. We're totally outmatched. Sarah looked around the room, at the faces of humans and aliens alike, all united in their fear and uncertainty. Then her gaze fell on the holographic display, still showing the intricate web of interconnected cultures. Together, she said, a plan forming in her mind. We use our differences, our unique strengths. The Concordat wants uniformity. We'll show them the power of diversity. She turned to Xylta. Your people can manipulate energy fields, right? And Gloop, the myriad worlds are masters of adaptation. Both aliens nodded, curiosity replacing fear in their expressions. And Ambassador Zix, Sarah continued, addressing the energy being who was watching the proceedings with interest. Your consciousness merging, could it be used to coordinate a large group without fully unifying their minds? Zix pulsed thoughtfully. It is possible, though we've never attempted it on such a scale. Sarah's eyes blazed with determination. Then that's our advantage. We'll create a network of shared consciousness, but maintain our individuality. Each species contributing its unique abilities, coordinated but not controlled. As she outlined her daring plan, Sarah saw hope rekindling in the eyes of those around her. It was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy, but it was also quintessentially human, facing overwhelming odds with ingenuity, adaptability, and sheer stubborn will. Dr. Chen, the portly diplomat, said, his voice filled with a newfound respect. I hope you know what you're doing. The fate of Earth, perhaps the entire galaxy, rests on this plan of yours. Sarah nodded grimly. I know, but remember, it's not just my plan. It's all of ours, human and alien. We're in this together now. As the room erupted into a flurry of activity, with plans being made and alliances forged, Sarah allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. She thought of her life just a few short weeks ago, content in her lab, studying alien life from afar. Now, she stood at the center of a galactic conflict, with 2 alien fiancés by her side and the weight of worlds on her shoulders. Whatever happened next, Sarah knew that humanity was about to face its greatest test, and she was determined to prove that the human spirit, combined with the strength of their new alien allies, was a force to be reckoned with. The Concordat of Unified Minds was about to learn a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the power of diversity, especially when humanity is involved. Journey to the stars. The massive ship of the Concordat loomed in Earth's orbit, a constant reminder of the threat hanging over humanity. But on the ground, a flurry of activity had replaced the initial panic. Sarah Chen's audacious plan had given people hope, and now it was time to put it into action. Sarah stood on the launch pad of the hastily constructed Unified Defense Center, watching as ships from a dozen alien races touched down. Each brought technology, warriors, or unique abilities to contribute to Earth's defense. At her side, Xylta shimmered with nervous energy, while Gloop's fur rippled in patterns Sarah had learned to recognize as deep concentration. You know, Sarah said, a wry smile on her face, when I imagined my engagement period, I didn't quite picture this. Xylta chimed softly, a sound Sarah now knew indicated amusement. Life, like the cosmos, is full of unexpected harmonies, Sarah Chen. Gloop burbled in agreement. Big adventure. Scary, yes, but exciting too. Gloop proud to fight with humans. Their moment of calm was interrupted by the arrival of Ambassador Zix, their energy form pulsing with urgency. Dr. Chen, we've received a transmission from the Concordat. They're demanding us immediate surrender and integration. Sarah's jaw clenched. Not happening. Is everything ready for our counter-move? Zix's glow intensified. Yes, but I must warn you again. The scale of consciousness linking you're proposing is unprecedented. The risks are necessary, Sarah finished firmly. We've been over this. It's our best shot at coordinating our defenses and maybe, just maybe, finding a weakness in the Concordat's unified mind. As if on cue, alarms blared across the complex. The Concordat ship was powering up its main weapon, a massive cannon that could potentially crack the planet in two. "It's now or never," Sarah said, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her gut. She turned to face the assembled crowd of humans and aliens. "Everyone to your stations. Remember, we're aiming for coordination, not complete unification. Keep your individual thoughts, your unique perspectives. That's our strength." With a nod to Zix, Sarah closed her eyes as the ambassador began the consciousness-linking process. At first, there was only darkness and the faint echo of her own thoughts. Then, like a starburst, her mind exploded with sensation. Colors she had no names for, sounds beyond human hearing, scents that told entire stories. The sensory input was overwhelming. But beneath it all, Sarah felt the steady pulse of shared purpose, of minds working in concert without losing their individuality. There, the thought wasn't her own, but Sarah instantly understood its importance. One of the crystalline beings had spotted a fluctuation in the Concordat ship's energy field. Weakness detected in lower quadrant came the analytical assessment of a hive mind species. Myriad worlds can adapt, penetrate defenses. Gloop's familiar mind voice burbled excitedly. Through the shared consciousness, Sarah coordinated the assault. Crystalline energy beams targeted the weak spot, while swarms of shape-shifting myriad worlders slipped through the Concordat's defenses. Earth's own ships, enhanced with alien tech, provided covering fire. The Concordat's response was immediate and terrifying. A wave of psychic energy slammed into their linked minds, threatening to overwhelm their individuality. Sarah felt minds around her buckling under the assault. "Hold on," she projected with all her mental strength. "Remember who you are, what makes you unique." To her amazement, she felt the human minds rallying, not with raw psychic power, but with an explosion of individuality. Memories, hopes, fears, dreams. The rich tapestry of human experience became a shield against the Concordat's homogenizing force. The alien minds in their network marveled at the humans' resilience. Inspired, they too pushed back against the Concordat's assault with their own unique identities. In orbit, the battle raged. The Concordat ship's weapon was charging, a deadly glow building at its tip. But the coordinated attack had thrown their defenses into disarray. Now, the thought came from 1,000 minds at once. A surge of combined energy, crystalline beams, psychic pulses, and good old-fashioned human nukes struck the Concordat ship at its weak point. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a silent flash that lit up the sky like a second sun, the massive ship broke apart. The psychic backlash hit their linked minds like a tidal wave. Sarah felt herself falling, the connection fraying. She gasped, her eyes flying open as she found herself back in her own body. Around her, humans and aliens were slowly coming to, looks of wonder and disbelief on their faces. Did we do it?" someone asked shakily. A cheer went up from the monitoring station. "Concordat ship destroyed. Earth is safe." The celebration that erupted was like nothing Sarah had ever experienced. Humans and aliens embraced, their differences forgotten in the joy of shared victory. She felt Tsilda's crystals gently brush her arm, while Gloop's fur tickled her cheek as the little alien nuzzled her happily. As the initial euphoria faded, Sarah found herself approached by a group of stern-looking officials, both human and alien. Her heart sank, realizing the political fallout was about to begin. "Dr. Chen," one of the human officials began, "your actions were..." "Brilliant," interrupted a glowing alien dignitary. "The Galactic Council is most impressed with Earth's ingenuity and the power of your diverse alliances." Sarah blinked in surprise. "I thank you, but the marriage law..." The dignitary's glow pulsed in what Sarah was learning to recognize as embarrassment. "Ah, yes, We owe humanity a profound apology. The law was implemented under coercion from the Concordat. With their defeat, it shall be immediately repealed. A ripple of shock went through the crowd, followed quickly by relief and joy. Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders, even as a pang of unexpected sadness hit her. She looked at Atalto and Gloop, her alien fiancés who had stood by her through this crisis. I suppose this means our engagements are off. To her surprise, both aliens moved closer. Crystalline harmonies do not break bonds lightly, Atalto chimed softly. If you wish it, Sarah Chen, we would be honored to continue our partnership. Gloop's fur turned a deep, warm purple. Gloop stay with Sarah too. Much to learn, much to explore together. Sarah felt tears welling up in her eyes, but she blinked them back with a laugh. Well then, I guess Earth's first voluntary human-alien throuple is about to make headlines. As the implications of their victory sank in, Sarah realized that this was just the beginning. Earth had proven itself on the galactic stage, forging alliances and demonstrating the incredible potential of unity through diversity. The stars no longer seemed distant and unreachable. They were the next frontier, full of challenges and wonders waiting to be explored, and humanity, with all its beautiful complexity, was ready to take its place among them. Sarah looked up at the sky, now filled with the ships of Earth's new allies, and smiled. The journey to the stars had only just begun. Rebellion and revelations. The months following Earth's victory over the Concordat were a whirlwind of change. Humanity had earned its place in the galactic community, but with that came new challenges. Sarah Chen found herself at the center of it all, balancing her roles as Earth's unofficial ambassador, pioneering xenobiologist, and partner in an unprecedented interspecies relationship. Today, Sarah stood before the newly established Earth Council for Galactic Affairs, her alien partners Atalto and Gloop by her side. The chamber buzzed with a mix of excitement and tension. Dr. Chen, began Councillor Yamamoto, her voice stern, while we appreciate your efforts in the Concordat crisis, your latest proposal is concerning. You're suggesting we actively rebel against certain Galactic Council policies. Sarah took a deep breath, steeling herself. Councillor, what I'm proposing isn't rebellion, it's reform. Our experiences have shown that the Galactic Council, while well-intentioned, doesn't always act in the best interests of all its members. Atalto chimed in, its crystalline form resonating with conviction. Indeed, the crystalline harmonies have long observed discrepancies in the Council's treatment of younger spacefaring races. Gloop's fur rippled with agitation. Bad rules hurt many worlds. Not just Earth. Need change. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Sarah pressed on, her voice gaining strength. The forced marriage law was just the tip of the iceberg. We've uncovered evidence of other races being manipulated, their resources exploited under the guise of galactic integration. She gestured to the holographic display behind her, showing a web of connections between council policies and unexplained phenomena across the galaxy. Strange accidents befalling races on the verge of major technological breakthroughs. Promising young leaders disappearing. It's subtle, but the pattern is clear. Councillor Okafor leaned forward, his brow furrowed. Are you suggesting a conspiracy within the Galactic Council itself? Not exactly, Sarah replied carefully. We believe there's a faction within the Council manipulating policy for their own ends. The Concordat may have been defeated, but their ideals of forced uniformity live on in more insidious forms. The room erupted in heated debate. Some councillors dismissed the claims as paranoid fantasy, while others demanded immediate action. Sarah exchanged glances with Atalto and Gloop, drawing strength from their unwavering support. Suddenly, the chamber security systems blared to life. Red warning lights bathed the room as blast shields slammed down over the windows. What's happening? Councillor Yamamoto demanded. A frantic aide burst into the room. We're under attack. Unidentified ships have breached Earth's defense perimeter. Sarah's mind raced. It's them, she breathed. They're trying to stop us from exposing the truth. As if in response to her words, the main screen crackled to life. A figure appeared, shrouded in shadows, its voice distorted. Dr. Sarah Chen, your meddling ends now. Earth's brief foray into galactic politics is over. Submit or face obliteration. Councillor Okafor stood, his voice ringing with defiance. We are not so easily cowed. Humanity has faced threats before, and we've prevailed. The shadowy figure chuckled darkly. Brave words, but you face forces beyond your comprehension. Your victory over the Concordat was an aberration, one we intend to correct. The transmission cut off abruptly. Alarms blared as reports of attacks on major cities across the globe poured in. We need to evacuate, Councillor Yamamoto ordered. Get to the emergency shelters. No, Sarah said firmly, her mind whirling with possibilities. That's exactly what they want. To scatter us, make us easy targets. She turned to her partners. Xyltar, can the crystalline harmonies amplify our communication systems? We need to reach every allied world now. Xyltar chimed affirmatively. It shall be done. But Sarah, the energy required. I know the risks, she cut in gently. Gloop, we'll need the myriad world's adaptive shielding. Can you interface with Earth's defense grid? Gloop's fur shifted to a determined blue. Gloop do. Protect Earth, protect friends. Sarah faced the stunned council members. What we discovered goes beyond Earth. If we fall, other worlds will follow. But if we stand together, if we rally the allies we've made. Understanding dawned on their faces. Councillor Okafor nodded grimly. Do it, Dr. Chen. We'll buy you whatever time we can. As the councillors mobilized Earth's defenses, Sarah and her alien partners raced to the communication hub. Xyltar's crystals interfaced with the systems, boosting the signal to unprecedented levels. Gloop's amorphous form spread through the building's infrastructure, reinforcing it against attack. Sarah took a deep breath and began broadcasting. To all allied worlds, to every race that values freedom and diversity. Earth is under attack by forces that seek to dominate our galaxy through uniformity and oppression. We've uncovered their plans, and now they've shown their hand. But we are not alone. Together, we've already defeated the Concordat. Together, we can root out this corruption within the Galactic Council itself. As she spoke, data streamed from the console, evidence of the conspiracy, plans for reform, a call to unite not in fear, but in hope for a better galaxy. The response was immediate. Signals poured in from across the stars. Ships from 100 worlds jumped into Earth's system, engaging the enemy fleet. The shadowy forces found themselves outmatched, caught off guard by the speed and scale of the response. On the ground, the tide began to turn. With Gloop's adaptive shielding and tactics coordinated through Xyltar's enhanced communications, Earth's defenders pushed back against the invaders. Hours blurred into days as the battle raged on. Sarah worked tirelessly, coordinating with alien allies, analyzing enemy weaknesses, and rallying morale. Finally, as dawn broke on the 5th day, the last enemy ship fled or surrendered. Exhausted but triumphant, Sarah stumbled out of the command center. The sky was filled with the ships of Earth's allies, a testament to the bonds they'd forged. Xyltar's crystals chimed softly. It is done, Sarah. The Galactic Council has convened an emergency session. The evidence we provided changes everything. Gloop nuzzled against her leg, its fur a swirl of joyous colors. Big change coming, good change. Sarah smiled warily, leaning against her partners for support. We did it. But this is just the beginning, isn't it? As if in answer, a new transmission came through. The Galactic Council, humbled and grateful, was extending an invitation. They wanted Sarah and Earth to lead the reform efforts, to help build a truly equitable galactic society. Looking up at the star-filled sky, now full of promise rather than threat, Sarah felt a swell of pride and determination. Humanity had not only survived its baptism by fire, but emerged as a force for positive change in the galaxy. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, humans and aliens, united in their beautiful diversity. Humanity's stand. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with nervous energy. Representatives from thousands of worlds filled the tiered seats, their diverse forms a testament to the vastness of life in the universe. At the center of it all stood Sarah Chen, flanked by Xyloto and Gloop, facing the Council's High Arbiter. Dr. Sarah Chen of Earth, the Arbiter's voice boomed, "You stand before us as both savior and accuser. Your actions have saved countless lives, yet your revelations threaten the very foundations of our society. What say you?" Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of not just Earth, but all the oppressed species watching. "High Arbiter, esteemed members of the Council, I stand here not to accuse, but to illuminate. For too long, a shadow has lingered at the heart of our galactic community. Today, we have a chance to step into the light." She gestured, and holographic displays sprang to life around the chamber, showing the evidence they gathered. The conspiracy we uncovered goes beyond simple corruption. It was a fundamental betrayal of the principles this council was founded upon. Diversity suppressed, potential squandered, all in the name of control. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Sarah pressed on, her voice gaining strength. "But in our darkest hour, we discovered something profound. The very diversity that some sought to eradicate became our greatest strength. Humanity, in all its chaotic, creative glory, joined with allies across the stars. Together, we proved that unity does not require uniformity." Quetzalto chimed in, its crystalline form resonating with conviction. The crystalline harmonies have long observed the power of complementary frequencies, in music, in science, and now in galactic politics. Gloop burbled enthusiastically, its fur a kaleidoscope of emphatic colors. "Many shapes, many thoughts make strong web. All learn, all grow together." The Arbiter leaned forward, intrigue evident in their multifaceted eyes. "You speak of lofty ideals, Dr. Chen, but how do you propose we reshape millennia of established order?" Sarah smiled, activating another holographic display. "With this, a new framework for galactic governance, built on the principles of transparent democracy, cultural exchange, and collaborative problem-solving. We call it the Galactic Concordance." The chamber erupted in a mixture of excitement and skepticism. Sarah and her team spent hours fielding questions, addressing concerns, and painting a vision of a more equitable galaxy. It was exhausting, exhilarating work. As the session neared its end, a diminutive alien that Sarah recognized as a member of the reclusive Epsilon Collective approached the central platform. The chamber fell silent. "We have watched." The alien's voice was barely a whisper, yet it carried to every corner of the room. "For eons we have watched and waited. Humanity, in its brief time among the stars, has demonstrated a capacity for growth that we had thought lost to the galaxy." The alien turned to the council at large. "We, the Epsilon Collective, throw our support behind this galactic concordance. Let a new age of discovery and cooperation begin." A hush fell over the chamber, followed by a growing wave of approval. Species that had been bitter rivals found common ground in the vision of a better future. Old guards resistant to change found themselves swept up in the tide of progress. The High Arbiter raised their hands for silence. "It seems the will of the galaxy is clear. Let it be recorded that on this day, we set aside the old ways and embrace a new path forward. The Galactic Concordance is ratified." Cheers erupted throughout the chamber. Sarah felt tears of joy and relief streaming down her face as Xyloto and Gloop enveloped her in a group embrace. They had done it. Against all odds, they had changed the course of galactic history. As the celebrations continued, Sarah found a quiet moment to slip away to a viewport. She gazed out at the star-filled expanse, marveling at how far humanity had come in such a short time. "Quite a view, isn't it?" a familiar voice said behind her. She turned to see Raj, her old colleague from Earth, now the head of the new Galactic Cultural Exchange Program. Sarah smiled. It's overwhelming. A few months ago, I was studying alien microbes in a lab. Now you're the architect of a new galactic order, Raj finished with a grin. Not bad for a xenobiologist from Earth. They stood in companionable silence for a moment, watching distant suns twinkle. You know, Raj said thoughtfully, there's still so much out there to explore. Whole sectors of the galaxy that have never been properly studied. The Concordance is going to need someone to lead those efforts. Sarah's eyes lit up with a familiar spark of scientific curiosity. Are you offering me a job, Raj? He chuckled. More like a mission. To go where no human has gone before. To seek out new life and new civilizations. To boldly go. All right, Sarah laughed, playfully shoving his shoulder. No need to get carried away with the dramatic speeches. I'm in. As if on cue, Xylto and Gloop appeared at her side, having sensed her excitement. New adventures. Gloop burbled hopefully. Xylto chimed with anticipation. The harmonies of undiscovered worlds await. Sarah looked at her partners, then back out at the vast, star-studded canvas of the galaxy. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not by conquering or submitting, but by bringing its unique spark of adaptability, creativity, and determination to the cosmic community. Well then, Sarah said, her heart full of hope and wonder, shall we see what's out there? As they turned to rejoin the celebrations, Sarah knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity's stand had not just saved Earth, but reshaped the galaxy. The future stretched out before them, full of challenges and marvels beyond imagination. And they would face it together, united in diversity, stronger for their differences, ready to show the universe just what humanity could do. The stars beckoned, and this time, all of Earth answered the call.